Hi, I'm Paul Pasolka, IB Masters Learning Center, IBMasters.com. And today, we're going to look at the 19th question from Digital SAT Test 2, Module 2B. This is from the harder set of reading and writing questions. Number 19 reads, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the convention standard English? Whenever it asks this question, you always want to look at the answer choices first. When you look at the answer choices, what I notice is semicolon. Ordinarily, I'd ask, hey, is there an independent clause before and after? But when you see the semicolon and the period, these two answer choices are identical, except you've got semicolon, lowercase t, period, capital T. Then you want to eliminate both of them because they could both combine two independent clauses, and usually that's an indication that there's not two independent clauses. We could check for this. Then we're narrowed it down to A and B, and we could read with each of those. But first, hey, do our due diligence. Let's make sure that there's not an independent clause up to and including quilts, or not an independent clause from the to the end of the sentence. So for that, really only have to read from when. When viewed up close, however, the portraits reveal themselves to be quilts. Could that be its own sentence? Yes, it can. Portraits is the subject, reveals the verb, and it is a complete thought. Those are the three things you need for an independent clause, something that could be its own sentence. And then we read from the to the end. The stitching barely visible among thousands of printed microcut fabric. That's not an independent clause. We need a verb there. You'd have to say the stitching is barely visible among the thousands of pieces of printed microcut fabric. So anyway, C and D are both gone. You do not have an independent clause after the semicolon or period. So then we move to the other answer choices. And I'll read it from the beginning. This one, it does not look like we really do need to read it from the beginning. It may be hard to discern that, but if you can, then it could save you some time if timing is an issue. So I'm going to read from the beginning, and we'll read with answer choice A in place. From afar, African-American fiber artist Bisa Butler's portraits look like paintings. They're depictions of human faces, bodies, and clothing so intricate that it seems only a fine brush could have rendered them. When viewed up close, however, the portraits reveal themselves to be quilts, and the stitching barely visible among the thousands of pieces of printed microcut fabric. For answer choice A, you'd also need a verb, just like you would for C and D. You've got a comma and an and. That could also combine two independent clauses. It doesn't always need to, but it looks like that would be the construction here. So I'm going to read with an is inserted into the sentence, and then answer choice A would make sense, but it does not as it is. When viewed up close, however, the portraits reveal themselves to be quilts, and the stitching is barely visible among thousands of pieces of printed microcut fabric. But it doesn't have the is there. A is gone. So answer choice B is correct. You might not like it. I'm going to read it with B in place, and then I'm going to explain a little bit. When viewed up close, however, the portraits reveal themselves to be quilts, comma, the stitching barely visible among the thousands of pieces of printed microcut fabric. So notice what this answer choice B, it has quilts in it, and then you've got a comma. After the comma, we have something called an appositive. An appositive is a phrase that defines something or gives some information. Here, after the comma, it just tells you something about the quilts. The stitching barely visible among 1,000 pieces of printed microcut fabric. Really, it's describing the quilts viewed up close and what the portraits reveal themselves to be. All you need is a comma after that, and then you could have the appositive, not an independent clause. It's just describing or clarifying what was stated immediately before it. And you could have had a comma here, a dash here, if you're bringing more emphasis to dash, or you could have had from the to the end of the sentence between parentheses. All of those would have been acceptable. B is your correct answer. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, click like. You could share it with someone who does not know the rule for the semicolon and a period. You could eliminate both those answer choices, or just got this wrong, has trouble identifying this positive. If there's any question you'd like to see answered from any official PSAT or SAT or ACT, leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to shoot a video on it. Click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Check out our 1-minute video if you go to IB Masters Learning Center on YouTube. Test 2, Module 2B on the playlist. And then you're going to go down If you find this video, you'll see that there's a shorter video just below it. We've got short videos if you want to be in and out in a minute or two. And then we've got these longer videos that really get into depth explaining why every right answer is right and why every wrong answer is wrong. Have a great day.